Hey everybody, welcome to Happy Businessing with Suze. How are you guys doing? It is your Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. It's my Wednesday morning because I am living in the future over here in Tokyo. How are you guys doing? I today want to talk about a really important business issue that I've seen going on more and more lately. And I can really relate because I've also struggled with this. But we're going to talk about, are you guys putting barriers in front of your customers, barriers that are making it more difficult for them to do business with you? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Hi, thanks for saying hey. Be sure to drop a comment, say hi, ask questions, and all that good stuff. So I'm just going to start out with, how many of you have onboarding processes for your customers? And, that can be as early as the initial stage of interacting. So maybe you include a questionnaire with your initial phone calls, or once you have actually, closed the deal, then you have another onboarding process. So how many of you, hi Tessa, thanks for saying hi, you guys. How many of you guys have processes that are part of your onboarding system? Hi, Joe. How are you doing? So this is what we're going to talk about today. Before I get to that, let me do a little regular housekeeping and tell you guys a little bit about me. So I'm Susan Fessenden with ProfitLogics, and I have 25 years of legit, real hands-on business management experience, folks. That's right. Everything from accounting to HR, operations, organizational development, and executive leadership. And I was able to get this experience in a variety of different types, sizes, and industries. And this is where I've gotten like this unique view in a relatively short amount of time in my career. And basically, I took all of my lessons, all the things that I learned, and I put it into one toolbox for all of you called the 5 business questions. So if you want to know more about the 5 business questions, you can go to ProfitLogics.com, check those out. As a quick summary, they are the who are we, what do we do, where are we going, how do we get there, and are we on track? Those are the 5 business questions, okay? And also, I have a new Facebook group. It's actually my regular group, Brain, Hi Brainiacs, and I'm revamping it to make it more focused on business training, free trainings, free tools, and all that stuff. So if you're looking for a new Facebook group to join, go over to Skyrocket Your Biz. This is my Facebook group, and we're going to be, blowing it up with all sorts of new great content for you all. All right. So as most of you know, I am streaming to lots of different groups with StreamYard right now. And so I love giving everyone a shout out. So first, Small Business Owners United, 80,000 business owner members. Hey guys, love this group. If you guys aren't a member of this group, get on over there. Women's Entrepreneur Network, 70,000 business owners, and you don't have to be a woman to join, okay? So however you identify, get over there. It's a great community as well. And of course, Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs, 420,000 members strong, fantastic community. And if you're looking for a place to promote and advertise your business for free, I also have another Facebook group for that called Business Growth Together. So you can go to groups, search for all these, find them, or you can save yourself time. There are links to these groups up in the post. Okay, so go check that out. Yes, when I'm in huge need of an onboarding process. Tessa, this is a good time to have this talk. Let's dive in, you guys. So what I'm experiencing out there is really interesting. And lately I've had some experiences that left me feeling frustrated with, the onboarding process that maybe a new vendor has given me. And it really got me thinking about how this really is a struggle for a lot of businesses. Now, as someone that has an accounting, HR, and compliance background, I'm very much a process person, right? Not only do I want to make sure that my processes are good for the company, compliance-wise, they mitigate risk, and they make sure that the process is smooth and efficient. I am just always geared more toward process. And, there were times in my career where I had to just stop it. Sometimes you just need to knock that shit off because, you don't want your desire and your need for process to overpower your business mission or what the point is that you're trying to do or how you're trying to help people. So it's a fine line, and you really need to be looking at these processes from your customer's perspective. Okay. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm guilty of it too. Like I said, I'm used to being heavy on process. And, sometimes we just really need to ease off, tap the brakes on that process stuff a little bit. Okay. So how many of you have an onboarding process? What is it? And what's the purpose of it? Let me know in the comments. Drop a comment below. Let me hear about your current processes that you use to onboard people and how that's working for you and what the purpose is. And while you guys are doing that, I am going to give some examples of these types of processes that you probably put in place purposely. Like you put these processes in place to aid your company, and your intention was to make it easier for your clients. But what I'm finding is that some of these processes are really becoming barriers. And so you want to take a look at that. Okay. So let's look at the very first step, which is your sales process. So a sales process that is rigid and doesn't leave room for the customer to ask questions or learn about services is a no-go. And that sounds like a no-brainer, but you would be surprised how many people are using a sales process that is so rigid that honestly, you're actually pushing people out the door and you don't even realize it. And I have a good example of this. So as most of you guys know, I've been working a lot, right? I'm in the startup grind myself, and I'm putting in a lot of hours. And then plus COVID, I have not been working out. I've been sitting a lot at my computer. And, it's almost like there's some sort of like overarching depression going on for a lot of us right now, right? So I ran into this person who seemed like a really good fit. And, was about, health and wellness and fitness. And I thought, you know what, maybe this is a good time for me to incorporate this back into my life. Right. And so I reached out to her and we had our initial conversation. Right. And for me in my mind, even though I wasn't, hey, thanks you guys. Even though I wasn't 100% committed yet, I was actually feeling better and better the closer I got to the phone call with her. And budget for me wasn't necessarily an issue either. I know that I needed to make sure that there was a really good click and a really good relationship for me to get results, because the last trainer I had, oh my God, she's amazing. And, she's no longer here in Tokyo, so it's been a little heartbreaking. But I have a chronic injury with a permanent foot injury. I broke my foot 10 years ago, had a surgery, it didn't heal right, okay? So this is a constant source of pain and inflammation. And it's something that any person that I work with has to be willing to understand and work around, right? And then on the emotional side, when I was younger, I struggled with some pretty, complex eating disorder issues, okay? So we all have this stuff, right? We all have this stuff when we're going into these potential, coaching or advisory things. We all have our stuff. And so when we had our initial call, I wanted to explain those two key things to this person, so they understood this about me, and that it may not be that I am not committed or giving them pushback, but that I actually have legitimate issues that I want them to hear and know about. And before I knew it, boom, the 20 minutes was up, you guys. She allocated 20 minutes to that initial sales conversation, and that was it. And, I think that I didn't follow her process all the way, right? Because I was talking about me and my situations a little bit. And so we get to the end of the 20 minutes, and I asked her if she could stay on a few more minutes so we could then talk about her services, because I still really don't know anything about how she structures her business, right? And she goes, I'll put something together and send it to you. I'm like, you can't tell me anything about your program like right now? Because now, as I've been talking about it, I'm getting even more excited to do this work, right? I'm becoming more committed, and I'm becoming more of a qualified lead for her, right? You guys, like, I am basically closing myself on the sale the more I'm talking about it, right? And she doesn't see that. And instead, she stays firm on, no, I'm going to send you an email. And I was just really surprised because I'm like, what, you don't want to tell me more about your program? Like, I like made time for this. I scheduled time for this, but she was so set on her process, you guys, that she lost the opportunity to work with me. And, maybe she was okay with that. Maybe she decided I was going to be too much trouble, right? With my foot injury and other stuff, but it doesn't matter. When I asked her about it, I said, I'm a little bit surprised, as a business advisor, I look at these things and I'm just surprised that this is your sales process, because you're basically shutting me down and I'm like ready to continue engaging with you. And she said, look, Susan, this is my process. I'm very successful with this process and this is my process. And so, you know what? This is what it says to me. It says, her time and her process is more important than my health and well-being. It's more important than my time because I carved out the time for this appointment, right? And, that she's more in love with her process than with onboarding me. And I really needed her help. I was ready for her help. And I was okay pretty much at any price point. So bottom line, I was able to, get a few a few more pieces of information. Maybe she spent an extra 10 minutes or so, but that was it, you guys. And it was an example. Make sure that you're not so rigid in your sales process that you can't. If you feel like someone's interested and might be a good fit, make sure that you have your schedules padded a little bit, right? That way you can spend more time with them. Joe, sounds like she needs some sales training. I don't know. She was very confident about her process. She really was. She's like, look, I'm very successful. I do this all the time this way. So, what are you going to do? I know for me, when I'm considering working with someone, it was hard enough with my time zone, right? To even book her to begin with. So then if I have to book another follow-up and another follow-up just to get really basic info, it's pretty rough on me. So think of your customers first, you guys, not just your process, okay? Sales failure, ouch, yes, exactly. All right, let's talk about another one. Oh my God, you guys, Facebook challenges. You know what I'm talking about. They're everywhere now. All these Facebook groups are using this same way of monetizing. And I don't have a problem with monetizing your group. I don't have a problem with, leveraging all these tools like Facebook to grow your business. That is a win, win, win. But guess what? People are on the challenges now. Okay. I would not recommend doing a paid challenge. This is why. You know how you go on vacation and they want to get you in the room so they can sell to you for an hour and a half? And they do at least usually give you, breakfast or lunch or something, but then the rest of it's exhausting, a hard sell for the whole hour, right? That's how I feel when I'm in some of these paid challenges, right? So what I would say is, if you want an opportunity to showcase your services, hoping that turns into lead generation, that's great. Don't charge for it, okay? I will never charge someone to sit down and be sold to. Never, ever, ever. It just goes against every bone in my body, okay? So doing these challenges, I think, can be really helpful for building relationships and helping people understand your services and your offerings. So absolutely do them. But, I get so much pressure put on me to do, paid challenges. So you guys can see about the 5 business questions, for instance. And I keep pushing back because, I'm not going to charge people to be sold to. Okay. And so think about that. I know you want to get paid for the time you're putting in. I get it. I know you want to be paid for the value you believe you're bringing these people. But if the main purpose of what you're doing in this Facebook challenge is to sell, to upsell, to get them in your sales funnel, I wouldn't charge for it. Okay. If your main goal is just to bring value and educate, and maybe at the end there's some offer, all right, there's a little wiggle room there. But I recommend doing free challenges if you're going to do them. And, when I say that people are onto it, this is what I realized. So a while back, I was promoting a week-long boot camp workshop. Okay. And this was a real course. Okay. It was live teachings, tons and tons of value being given. And I was charging like under $100 for it. Right. And I had multiple people come up to me and go, Susan, is this a challenge? Air quotes and all, guys, air quotes and all. And I'm like, no, this is actually a course and I'm going to bring you lots of value. And no, I'm not going to be selling at you. Don't be selling at people, right? Okay, so keep that in mind about these challenges. All right, sales processes in general. Oh my goodness, you guys, we are not car salesmen. Stop treating sales as transactional. You have to stop. I had another situation a few weeks ago where there was someone that I was highly motivated to work with. Actually, I really liked this person. I thought they could help me with some things that I felt were gaps in my company, right? And so I was a qualified lead. I was interested. And again, my budget wasn't the problem. Okay. So great. I'm a good date. Right. This person lost me as soon as they started going to the old traditional hard sell techniques. Well, Susan, could you imagine if you had this, and this? Like, what if you could have that? What would that mean to you? And I swear to God, I felt like I was, back in some, hardcore car selling situation or, selling me, some program, right? Like multi-level marketing or something. And, I told the person on 3 different occasions they needed to stop that technique. I'm like, look, I really like you. I want to work with you, but you need to stop that technique. It doesn't work well with me. And this person wasn't listening. Okay. So you may feel that sales technique may work on some people. Good for you. Give it a shot. If you make them transformational. Yes, absolutely. Especially if you are doing coaching, advising, training, working closely with people, like we're talking more intimate relationships. It's not transactional, you guys. You're not just trying to get to the finish line and close the sale. Focus on the relationship. Focus on the value you can bring them. And when they think that it's a right fit, and when they see the value of what you can provide, guess what? They are going to ask you, so how much do you charge? How much is the program work? Yeah, let me think on that. And then, this person also wouldn't do that. He didn't want to let me off the phone until I committed. It was just way too much, you guys. So don't make that mistake. Great guy, probably great process, great system, great offering. But he lost me with his sales process because he's putting barriers in inadvertently. He's following some sales manual that was learned somewhere along the way, right? Okay, I have a couple more examples here, guys. Questionnaires. Oh my God. So how many of you guys have initial questionnaires for your customer onboarding process, or even like, early on lead generation where you ask them some questions and you capture that feedback? I know a lot of you do. And I even have some, right? Like when I am letting someone book a call with me, by the way, you can totally book a free call with me anytime. There's a link on the post. But when people book that first initial call with me, I do ask them a couple of questions because it helps me prepare for the call, right? Very quick though. It's very quick. I ask just like 5 questions, like, tell me about your business. Tell me about your pain points. Tell me about the size and stage of your business, really. Okay. Very simple. So questionnaires can be really helpful in preparing you for the time with the person. And in that case, it's great. Okay. Because you're doing it so you can bring them the most value. So that process is in place for them to improve your service to them. Okay. And so that process is generally okay as long as you don't go too crazy. But let's go another layer. I recently had a situation where after the initial call, then I was onboarded into a system, right? And that system meant a 6 or 7 page Word document that I had to go through and answer all these questions. It was a little clunky. It didn't look totally professional and finished, polished, and it was long, you guys, and it was redundant. I was answering some of the same questions that I had been talking about in our initial calls. And so the further I got through it, the more frustrated I got, right? One, because it's clunky. Two, because it's not polished. I'm like, what did I just spend money on? Like, it makes you second guess the quality of the service when the quality of the onboarding process isn't up to par, right? So anyway, I tried to hang in there and I kept answering the stuff. And I'm like, you know what I'm doing right now? I'm doing their job for them. That's what I'm doing. I am basically giving them the notes that they should have taken from our phone call. And it pissed me off, almost to the point where I didn't want to do business with them anymore. Have you guys been there where the beginning process is so clunky and so bad? You're like, oh my God, now you're doubting the whole service, which is a shame because I think the service is great. And I think the person is great, right? She just has this process that needs a little tweak. Okay. So when you're putting these processes in place, be really careful that you're not just dumping your work on your customer. Be careful that it represents your brand, which means it's streamlined, it's easy, it's polished. If you're going to have a process, make sure that it's elegant, seamless, efficient, all that good stuff, right? So, I have more examples here. Crazy stuff. So one of my clients asked me recently, a client asked me, am I going to be getting homework every week because I have a lot going on and, I just want to know what's going to be involved. I'm not a homework person. I rarely give my clients homework. You know why? Because I promised them that we were going to work together as they run their business, as they grow their business. I am not a teacher that's going to send them home with hours of work to do to come back, show me what you did. Now let's go over it. No, I don't personally operate that way with my engagements. So it's one thing to delegate something to your client that is needed or useful, or maybe something you want them to think about for the next call. But I really try to structure my advisory sessions where we're doing the work hands-on together live as much as we can, because you don't want to impede their lives, guys. You want to make sure that they have the bandwidth to actually go execute on some of these larger business concepts. And you want to understand they have a lot going on in their personal life. They have a lot going on in their business. So I would recommend doing less homework for your clients, okay? And try to do more hands-on work with them live while you have them. With my clients, we usually have a Google Doc open. We usually have Asana open. And as stuff comes up, just type it up, put it in there, right? And that also helps reinforce it, right? When you're doing it fresh. I find that, I also do take paper notes. I've got notepads galore over here, but I find that when I take a slew of paper notes, that then I've got another call pretty soon, right? And it takes me a while. And by the time I go to try to get these notes into my systems, they're not as good. They're not as fresh, right? And so doing some of this stuff live while you're with a customer, it helps them because then they're not getting homework. It helps you because the information is fresh and all that good stuff. All right, what else do I have here? Oh my goodness, make sure your systems are not too clunky, guys. So if you have a login or, some of these LMS learning management systems that you guys are using, they're not as obvious or intuitive sometimes as you think they are for your customer. Okay, so make sure you give them instructions on how to do what you're doing and what to watch for and things like that, because nothing turns me off more than when I literally can't even start engaging and doing what this vendor is going to be doing with me. Good stuff, Susan. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Yeah, I'm all fired up about this one because I've had like 8 examples of these barriers that you're putting in front of your customers in a very short period of time. So I'm all fired up. I've got lots to say on this, but it also, made me look at some of my own and, and also think about my career in the past. So when you become a larger company, right, these processes end up, being super important in your company to make sure that you're compliant, make sure you're mitigating risk, make sure things are efficient and lean, right? But never lose sight of who your business is for and who you are serving and what your purpose is, and make sure they actually make sense, right? So for instance, accounting background, risk management, credit review and approval. This is something that's super important for larger companies to spend time doing, right? You're vetting your new customers' credit to make sure that they're creditworthy and that you can give them like net 30 days or due on the 30th types of terms, right? Because you don't want to extend them, a $50,000 order and not be quite sure if they're going to have the money to pay you, right? Like that would be massive. And so having the credit review and approval process in place is absolutely integral. It's very important, right? But how many times have you seen, oh, the credit app's in process. Oh, we're waiting on the credit app before I can sell to you, sir. I'm sorry, I can't sell to you, sir, because we're waiting for credit. Oh my God, don't let that happen, you guys. Don't let that happen, especially when they may have a time-sensitive order and a sense of urgency. Excuse me. I have a remedy for you on this. Hold on. So try to compromise with them. If they need product right away, let them know that you have other alternatives for payment. They don't have to jump through this hoop if they need that product. And always keeping an open mind and looking for those opportunities of how to work around it is important. All right, bear with me for just a moment, please. Thank you. I'm talking way too much. Oh my gosh. I miss the days of interviewing people, right? Because then they did most of the talking. See, my eyes are watering. All right. So my recommendation on this whole credit approval thing, you can recommend, listen, if you need this product now, we're happy to serve you. Are you able to prepay? We're happy to do this order for you, but are you able to do COD? Is there some other way? Can we give you partial products so we don't have so much risk out there? Okay. So keep your mind open. You can have your processes that make your company better. Absolutely. But make sure those processes are not standing in the way of a sale or standing in the way of doing business with someone wonderful, right? You don't want to miss out on these opportunities. So here are a couple quick tips for y'all. All right. Here's a simple thing you can do. Integrate cart recovery. Oh my gosh, on your e-commerce. This is like one of the best things I've done. So there are apps like Cart Bounty is the one I use for my WooCommerce site. This is really nice because if someone comes on my site and maybe they put something in the cart and then they got busy, or they put something in my cart and they're like, what am I available for that workshop? I got to check dates. Or I'm not totally sure yet, right? But it's in the cart. As they go to leave, they get a quick little message saying, hey, do you want me to save this cart for you? Put your email here real quick. Okay. I made it easy for them to go on about their day and not lose track of what they were working on. Okay. So putting in something as simple as this is a major no-brainer, you guys. So a cart recovery app like Cart Bounty can be super helpful. Make sure when you're onboarding people or just having like an initial call, take careful notes and document those notes and what you're learning about that person. So that way, when you interact with them again, they know you were listening. They know that time that you found that time valuable and you treated their time with care. Okay. So make sure you take those notes because no one can remember everything. Let's just be real. And if you have a CRM, obviously use that CRM, have those notes at the ready for every single interaction that you have. Okay. That's going to improve your relationships and it's going to remind them their time is valuable to you. Okay. And then don't forget about using like task management and collaboration tools. Like I use Asana. I love it. And add those to the work you're doing with your clients live. It will really, give them a sense of, I'm not going to have, tasks just kind of creep up on me. I see what we're putting here. You're not going to need to issue them a lot of homework. You can get that work done, make it easy for them, and know that it's captured live. And this way it's more efficient and the information is fresh. And consider the operational processes and the customer's experience more, you guys. Don't go through some of these stories I told you about because it's really, unfortunate. Each of the examples that I gave you guys were real life and they were things that I've experienced lately, right? Just as my business is growing, I'm looking to partner with more companies. And, I'm a good date is what I was going to say, because I'm like ready to buy. I'm evaluating who's the best relationship. I'm evaluating strategic partnerships and what's going to work best for me to grow my business. And these people lost me because of their process. Okay. So don't let that happen. Make sure that all the processes that you have in place, that you're thinking from your customer or your client's perspective and asking yourself, is this good for them? Not just me. Okay. So I was going to go ahead and talk a little bit longer, but I think we're about done. This is great. I guess I talked fast. So I really appreciate you guys commenting and being here and interacting. I really appreciate it. Let's do a quick review of the stories I told, because I know some of you have dropped off and some of you have come back on. So let's just start at the beginning. Quick rundown. You ready? I'm going through my notes here. Make sure your sales process is not so rigid that you're going to lose your customer. Okay. If you're only allocating 20 minutes for initial conversation, that's fine, but pad it. So when someone is ready and they want to know more information and they're engaged and they're liking what you're saying, you have the flexibility to give them more time and give them the time they need to evaluate your services. Okay. Another example, watch those hard sell, old traditional style of sales processes. Very few people respond well to that. And if you're playing a numbers game, sure, that might still work. But I play, a different game, and it's called just building relationships and letting those relationships result in sales if they were meant to be, right? Don't be like clinging on and trying to keep someone on the phone until they commit. It's ridiculous. Okay. It's not a car unless you're selling a car and it's truly transactional. You need to be looking at this process and make sure that you're focusing on building rapport, building the relationship, building trust, helping them see the value, right? Watch these paid challenges on Facebook, guys. They're so stupid. They're just stupid. Everyone knows that these challenges are just an opportunity to sit there and get sold to many times. At least that's how it feels. So don't charge them for that experience. Don't charge them to be sold at. That is not okay. Okay. If you want an opportunity to show off what you do and educate people and hope that it turns into a lead, that's great. Don't charge for it. Okay. So if you're going to be heavier on sales and promotion, don't charge for it. Okay. No one wants to pay money. Here, let me buy a ticket to sit down and be sold to, right? This isn't MLM. This isn't, these big training programs where they flout this method. I mean, it can be effective, but it's not effective for someone like me. Okay. So if you're focused on bringing them value, not just sales, of course, charge. But I don't even use the word challenge anymore because it's gotten such a bad reputation. Okay. So watch out for that. Watch your questionnaires and your onboarding process. Okay. Make sure that if you're asking questions, that it's easy, efficient, and that you're asking these questions for the purpose of better serving them. Okay. Not to save you time on your CRM notes, not to save you time instead of the questions you should be asking when you're building that relationship. Okay. So make sure the questionnaires are actually for the purpose of helping you serve them better, right? And not just to save you a bunch of time. Coaches, advisors, stop giving too much one-way homework. It's tough on clients when they're trying to run a business and their households and their families and all that stuff. Go lighter on the homework. Focus on, not only advising and coaching and spending that time, but doing some hands-on work with them, it'll go a long way for you. And then watch those clunky systems. Make sure that if you have an onboarding process or a login system or an LMS that they have to log into to get access to a course, make sure those links work. Make sure that it's smooth, and make sure that you're calling, like if you tell them, here, go and check the module, make sure it's actually called module, right? Because that happens a lot. Make sure you're using the same language to make it easy for them to understand quickly. Okay. And if you're a bigger company and you have credit review and approval process for your accounts receivable, great. That is super important. You must vet customers before you are issuing large amounts of credit to people. But don't let that credit approval process hold off orders and hold off sales, right? Try to be flexible. Ask them if you can do a smaller order. Ask them if they can do prepay. Ask them if they can do COD. Or better yet, do you guys remember like 2 months ago, I interviewed invoicecare.com. You can go to invoicecare.com. Elaine, she was amazing, and she offers these services for people. So, that might even be the best way to go. So then you don't even have to worry about that part. You can focus on the relationship. Let them focus on that part. Okay. So again, the cart recovery app, like Cart Bounty, is a good idea too. No, I'm not an affiliate. I'm not getting affiliate revenue. I just really like it. So having a cart recovery integrated with your e-commerce is super helpful, right? Because people are on the go, they're busy, they're multitasking. They'll put something in the cart and then they'll get busy. Maybe they have to double check something first. Give them a chance to drop their email real quick and say, hey, do you want me to save your cart for you so you can come back and finish where you left off, right? It's a great tool, and it helps them save time, but it also helps you maintain that contact information so you can continue the relationship, right? And then, use those task management and collaboration tools whenever you can. All right, any questions, you guys? Do we have questions? I think that pretty much summarizes what I wanted to talk about. I have like something itchy right here. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on with that. Feeling a little itchy. So evaluate your prospects and customers' process, okay, from their perspective, and make sure that it is customer experience centric. You guys, stop pawning your work off on them. Okay. And stop putting barriers in place that are keeping you from being able to work with them. Okay. Yeah, I think since I got all that out of the way, I still have more time. Don't forget that going live like this, it's fun. First of all, I do actually enjoy it. It's been hard getting used to just talking at you guys one-on-one. So I really appreciate comments and, questions and things like that. It's super helpful. I miss doing the interviews of people. That was really fun, way more interactive, but it just got too overwhelming. But if you guys want to go live like this, you can go live in like all the same groups I'm live in right now. So let's talk about those again. So you can go live in Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs. It's a group of 420,000 business owners. You can go live in Small Business Owners United. It's another Facebook group with 80,000 diverse and engaged business owner members. And you can go live in Women's Entrepreneur Network. Wonderful community, absolutely lovely, 70,000 members. You don't have to be a woman. It's open to men too. I think what Haley says, she's the founder of the group, Women's Entrepreneur Network. She says that Women's Entrepreneur Network is for women and very smart men. So cute. I like that. So you can go live in these groups. The links are on my post. Check it out. And I look forward to talking to you guys some more. And you are welcome to book a call with me. There's also a link up there for that. I'd love to get to know you. I love just networking and building relationships with people, even if we're not a fit to work together, even if you don't need my services. I love connecting. So reach out. Let's visit. And gosh, I hope you guys have an excellent evening and a great rest of your week. All right. Okay. Happy business seeing you guys. See ya.